It's Tuesday, February 6th, and welcome to Juck on Bucks. Tomorrow, Coach Ryan Day is going to speak to the media for the first time since the end of that debacle of a Cotton Bowl. And a whole lot's happened from then to now. But let's start with why he's talking tomorrow. Tomorrow is National Signing Day, the second one, which used to be the National Signing Day, but has now been totally trumped by the early signing day. Tomorrow, the Buckeyes will get a commitment, one, from Dominic Kirks, who is out of Paynesville, but was committed to Washington. They have flipped him, and he will sign tomorrow with the Buckeyes. Defensive end, he's a really big dude. He might end up playing tackle, but he's a stud. He's from Ohio, and obviously we know the defensive line is low on numbers. So a position where we really needed him, and we got him. It's going to be great. We're going to get him in tomorrow, but there won't be many questions about Dominic Kirks. There's very limited time to talk to the coach. As we know, we haven't heard anything from him since the Cotton Bowl. So let's recap everything that's happened from the end of that Cotton Bowl as we head into that press conference tomorrow. Now, my hope is this doesn't get dominated by the Bill O'Brien news because there's so much to go over, and we know that it's not going to be long. So on the player front, the Buckeyes have brought in Will Howard, Caleb Downs, Quinshon Judkins, Julian Sain, and Seth McLaughlin. All in. Essentially, the entire senior class returned, most of which we never thought would sniff their senior year in Columbus. Amazing news. So much to hear from him about that. Tim Walton became Brian Hartline of the defense, bringing in commitments from the number 1 and number 2 cornerbacks in the country in Devin Sanchez and Naeem Offord. They secured the commitment from Carter Lowe, the best lineman in Ohio, Zaire Mathis, a top 100 player out of Philly, edge rusher, position of need. They flipped Dominic Kirks, as we said. On the coaching front, safeties coach Perry Eliano, out. Special teams coach Parker Fleming, out. Quarterbacks coach Corey Dennis, not out of the organization, but he's moving to a different position in the organization. He will no longer be the quarterbacks coach. So you had 3 coaches out. Then you brought in offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien and safeties coach Matt Guerrieri. Well, Matt Guerrieri still going to remain on. Bill O'Brien, we don't know yet. We still had 1 slot open. Where does that go? Well, James Laurinaitis sitting there. I don't know. What does James want to do? There's been some talk. Maybe James doesn't want to be the linebackers coach. He's got young kids. I don't know that James has said anything about that, but I've heard some inside guys say that, he doesn't want to yet. I don't know about that. When you see James' activity on Twitter, he sure looks like a guy who is all the way in. Talk about traveling and recruiting, which he's able to do now in a temporary capacity because they are below that 11 coach number. He's been out there, and he's been tweeting cryptic stuff, and he's excited. He's bought in all the way. Would he be a great linebackers coach? I've heard some people say, why would you think he'd be a great linebackers coach just because he was a great linebacker? Well, maybe he's not, right? But here's one thing we do know. He's going to be an excellent recruiter. He's already showing it. And that's half the battle of a position coach. I believe Perry Eliano got let go because he couldn't close at safety. He was having a rough time recruiting. Some guys just aren't cut out for it. But at a program like Ohio State, recruiting is 50% of your job if you're a position coach. You got to get it done. And James Laurinaitis could get it done. When you see the reaction from these young dudes when they're talking to James Laurinaitis, they're taking pictures doing this, okay? This. They're pointing to James Laurinaitis. They're in awe, much like their pictures from the guys getting recruited from Jason Taylor down at Miami, who's coaching the defensive line in Miami, who we'd love to have in Columbus. But when you get a guy who's an absolute legend like Laurinaitis, who wants to be there, who's got all the juice in the world to get the job done, man, I don't know why he's not the linebackers coach already. There must be something going on. We don't know. But that's what a press conference is for. And I really hope that we get some detail tomorrow about Laurinaitis. So, Laurinaitis, definitely want to know what's going on with that. Corey Dennis, what role is he going into? Now, Corey Dennis, weird situation. How good of a quarterbacks coach was he? We don't really know. We don't know because we know quarterback, the position, is Ryan Day's baby, right? So how much did Corey Dennis do? he's got some good. I've heard a lot of good things from the quarterbacks that he's coached, or the quarterbacks that he's coached say about him. He is also, the elephant in the room, Urban Meyer's son-in-law. So if he wasn't Urban Meyer's son-in-law, would he have remained on the staff in some capacity, or would he have just been let go? Don't know, but he certainly seems to be very bought into the program, to want to stay and be around on staff despite getting a demotion. So definitely you want as many people like that around as you can, who's, people who are tuned in. He, seems to be a very nice guy. Everybody likes him. He's a nice guy. Nice is good. I don't know, man. He's Urban Meyer's son-in-law. That's an awkward spot for Ryan Day to be in. So I think most likely demoting him to a separate position within the organization was a way for him to take the first step to distancing himself from that. And to be quite honest, if I was Ryan Day, I would want to distance myself from that situation if Corey Dennis wasn't an excellent coach. If he was excellent, different deal. I don't think he is. Quarterback's Ryan Day's baby. And we'll see if he answers anything about that tomorrow. I do believe he'll probably be asked, because I know a couple of the beat writers have always been very curious about the situation with Corey Dennis because he is Urban Meyer's son-in-law. I've always found that really interesting as well. So, tons of stuff to go over tomorrow. I'd really love to know, as far as the transfers go, about Quinshawn. Now, Quinshawn was the most interesting. Well, Caleb Downs was the most interesting because of his impact and because he's going to have at least 2 years at Ohio State. Well, not at least. He'll have only 2 years because he's gone to the NFL after that. But he has 2 years. Quinshawn, I feel like Quinshawn sought Ohio State out. I would love to know if Coach Day is going to be up front and let us know what really went down with that. But it sure seemed to me like Quinshawn wanted to come to Ohio State. I mean, it was obviously very shocking when he entered the portal in the first place from Ole Miss. Nobody saw that coming. I mean, my jaw dropped. I think most people's did. Like, why? And, of course, then we heard some stuff coming out of Ole Miss, that he was a bad teammate. A lot of fans were saying that he wanted a ridiculous amount of NIL. We know Lane Kiffin took kind of a cryptic tweet shot at him after he left. And do we worry about that? I don't worry about any of that. He said all the right things at the press conference, and to be quite honest, he's got 1 year, right? 1 year, there's not a whole lot of damage you can do. So, but I really want to know, did he seek Ohio State out? How did all that go down? How much does Coach Day answer? I don't know, but I feel like he could let us in a little bit, right? I mean, as long as they didn't tamper, which of course they didn't, they would never do something like that. And they're definitely not trying to buy a national championship. And I do want to let you guys know that I have been arguing with a couple of morons on Twitter who keep throwing out this number of $13 million that Ohio State just paid to bring in all these guys. And I just want to let those morons know that that $13 million figure is a quote from Ryan Day in an article from 2 years ago that Lane Kiffin tweeted about, and somehow you all got the memo that that's what they just spent on these guys that came in. So if you're going to throw grenades, at least do your research, because you sound like an absolute idiot when you're talking about a quote from 2 years ago and applying it to something happening right now. Okay? On to the next thing. The spring game. April 13th, the spring game. It will be at noon. Tickets go on sale Friday. $10 to get in the door. Look, I've been to the spring game a couple of times. It's a ton of fun, and I really am not only hoping that it's a sellout, but I think it will be the most exciting spring game any of us have ever seen. With the buzz going on, the new players, if you got kids, it's an awesome time to take them. You don't need to pay total attention to the game. You know, the kids can distract you from the game, and you're not missing a ton of action, and you didn't spend $500 on a ticket, so you're not getting mad at them. So, awesome. Spring game, April 13th, set at noon. Tickets go on sale Friday. And just wanted to pop in, talk about tomorrow's press conference. We will discuss it in length after they have it, and I'm sure we'll have a ton to talk about. What I want from anybody listening is add in the comments tomorrow anything that you're seeing from the new show that you like, things that you don't, And as I go, I'm trying to get better here, trying to bring you what you're looking for. And please please subscribe. We'll keep it rolling. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk about the entire press conference. We'll see you then. Chuck on Bucks, signing off. Thank you. Okay, welcome back to Chuck on Bucks. So as I'm signing off, we discussed Corey Dennis just a few moments ago. Corey Dennis is now out. Okay, he's gone. Corey Dennis is off to a new gig, offensive analyst at Utah. So he's going to work for Kyle Whittingham, who we know worked under Urban Meyer. So it appears Urban got him a job out at Utah, and it certainly would appear just on the surface, he's going out there as an offensive analyst, not as, not in a big role, but you may read into that that Ryan Day either wanted him out or Urban wanted him out. Definitely, you could read into this a couple ways if you wanted to, but those are my initial reactions. He's going to be an offensive analyst, which is essentially what he got demoted to after quarterbacks coach. He was going to be an analyst of some sort for the Buckeyes. So he goes out to Utah to work for Kyle Whittingham, who's a good buddy of Urban Meyer's, and he didn't go out there to work for, he didn't get one of the 11 coaching positions. He's going out as an analyst. So not a promotion, definitely not as prestigious of a program. I don't know. Something might have happened there, guys. Something might have happened. And this is why you stay away from nepotism in coaching, okay? It's bad. But I do want to add, bringing that up, that I saw yesterday that the Washington Huskies are going to be hiring Steve Belichick, Bill Belichick's kid, as the defensive coordinator, and Pete Carroll's kid as the offensive coordinator. How cool is that? I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, Chuck on Bucks. See you later.